What's up everybody, you're watching Model Aviator, I'm Adam. This week we have another episode in our Model AV8R Scale Flights series. If you're not familiar with that series, it's pretty simple. I take a scale model and from taxi out to taxi in, do my best to mimic a full-scale airplane performing an air show routine at an air show or fly-in. And this week we have a pretty special Warbird. The Republic P-47D Thunderbolt is one of the most significant fighters of World War II. Its multi-role capability is legendary, specifically its capability in the ground attack role. And that is the reason that today's ground attack king of the hill, the A-10, is named Thunderbolt. We're going to feature a specific P-47D Thunderbolt Razorback version, Bonnie. And as it turns out this year, the timing couldn't be better. Bonnie Harris was the love of Bill Dunham's life and became the namesake for his P-47 Bonnie while he served in the South Pacific. Major Dunham was the unit commander for the 460th Fighter Squadron and finished the war a triple ace with 16 aerial victories. This beauty can be found at the Dakota Territory Air Museum. A long and detailed restoration was finished this year by Aircorps Aviation, and it was done in Bill Dunham's Bonnie paint scheme. This is the only flyable example in the world of a Republic-built Razorback P-47D. Bonnie did a stint on the airshow circuit this past summer and was displayed and performed at Oshkosh. There are a ton of YouTube videos, walk-arounds, airshow performances. I suggest you check some of those out. I'm not sure who the gentleman that flew Bonnie at Oshkosh was, but he's a badass. He put on the best P-47 airshow that I've seen yet. The model we'll be featuring is the FMS 1.5 meter P-47D Razorback version of the Thunderbolt. This airplane's been around for a few years now and it is aptly painted in the Bonnie paint scheme. That's what makes this convenient, and the timing is so nice. There's not always a flyable full-scale counterpart to the models we feature in this series. In this case there is, and that makes it that much cooler. The FMS 1500 P-47 is simply the definitive scale foam P-47 to have. What I mean by that is it has more scale features and more scale fidelity than any other foam P-47 out there. A lot of things stood out to me, but just to name a few. The landing gear. It has a retractable tail wheel with sequencing gear doors, and that tail wheel is actually properly steerable. You can turn the airplane around in a scale amount of space instead of it taking the entire runway like a lot of Warbirds that have a retractable tail wheel. When it comes to the main gear, it's very scale. Inside the wheel wells is painted zinc chromate, and it has sequencing gear doors that actually end up nice and flush the way the full-scale P-47 does. And then finally, the cockpit detail. The instrument panel and side panels have more detail in them than any foam RC Warbird that I've seen yet, and that is pretty impressive for an out-of-the-box foam Warbird. When it comes to flying the P-47, it's a pleasure. They say bigger flies better, and this airplane epitomizes that. It does. It's one of the best flying P-47s I've ever flown. It's one of the best flying Warbirds that I've ever flown. It's got plenty of power for big Warbird maneuvers. It slows down well. From a takeoff and landing perspective, it is the easiest to handle tail dragger Warbird that I've flown yet. Very little correction with rudder on takeoff, and the landing is very easy, as is a nice, straight, long rollout, which is essential to put the cherry on top of a nice scale flight. Even with the flaps down on a smooth surface, very little correction, and you're straight down the runway, and I really like that. So if you'd like to check the P-47 out for yourself, we'll put a link in the description where you can do just that. When it comes to flying it this particular morning, we went to one of our new fields, and the weather in Georgia is the way it is this time of year. It's windy all day. You have to get up pretty early in the morning and go out when it's a bit calm to make an airplane look nice and scale the way we wanted to. So a lot of times lighting conditions aren't ideal, but it is what it is. Now, it did look cool this morning. It was clear. There was an ominous little fog over the wheat field in front of the runway. You could see the lights on the airplane, and we think it looks pretty cool, so hopefully you will too. Let us know in the comments if you think we got it right and made it look nice and scale and realistic. Enjoy the air show. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week with something cool with wings.